What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes are back. Dustin Jacoby joins us here on today's show. And we've known Dustin for a long time, actually, as an MMA fighter, then as a kickboxer, back to MMA. Dustin, it's been a long road, man. 37 years old. You were mid 20s when we met you.
I know, man. I remember. I think I was in studio at Mandalay Bay the first time I came
Mhm.
on Junkie Nation. But man, it's been a heck of a ride. It's been an awesome career, and I'm just thankful to still be going strong and to have another opportunity in the UFC coming up here May 31st.
Yeah, can't wait. But I wanted to ask you, and hopefully we earned a little equity with you when I ask you this. How big was that win over Vitor Petrino? You know, you had lost a couple in a row. It was the end of the year, the holidays, but man, you stepped up, got the win, you got the win, and you got the two checks that you every fighter shows up expecting to win, and then the bonus that had to have been a huge relief because again, you're getting older, right? And we know kind of how the
And it
UFC
was
works.
a big win for my career. It was a great opportunity to face a young up and coming guy in Vitor Petrino. The UFC was high on that guy. I think they still might be. He's super young. That's what he has going for him. And very talented fighter, very dangerous, very big. That was one thing that I saw him at weigh-ins. I was like, damn, okay. And then I saw him on fight night, and I saw the weight before we walk over because we weigh in before we go over, and I weighed in at 218 and he was 236 or
Oof.
238, something like that. So I knew he had me by like 20 pounds, man. And I knew it was going to be a tough fight from the jump, but I was well prepared and I executed my game plan to perfection and came out with three checks, like you said, which is always it's a phenomenal night when you can do that in the UFC.
And as we've seen, every fighter I'm sure looks at, what could be next, right? Whether you're at the end of a contract or if you've dropped a couple fights in a row. We have been hearing about GFL. A lot of fighters retired and immediately popped up in the GFL. And of course, that seems to have blown up in their face a little bit. PFL, every season they start to reload, whether they want to, do a tournament or whatever it's called, regular season playoffs. And so there are options there. And how about for you? Is it always laser focused UFC, or is it hard not to get distracted by all the bags that guys are picking up? Sometimes you're in the right place at the right time and you fight a Paul brother. You know what I mean? Or you find yourself in a boxing event over here. Like, what's that like?
Yeah, those fights are always intriguing, man, and they're tough to say no to when you're an older fighter and you're getting paid really good money. But for me, like you said, I'm laser focused on where I'm at in my career. I'm with the UFC. I'm still thriving. I'm still going strong. And at the end of the day, this is what I always wanted to do. This is where I always wanted to be. I got there a little too soon in my younger years. And had to go through it a little bit with Glory Kickboxing and stints in Bellator and World Series of Fighting, and but no, man, I'm very thankful where I'm at, and yeah, that last fight, I knew my back was against the wall. I'm fighting. I'm an older fighter. I just turned 37. I'm fighting a guy that's 10 years younger than me, and trying to take my spot, trying to be where I'm at in the division. And I was really looking forward to that opportunity, man. I'm sure you guys have heard, my big toe, I had a terrible injury 3 weeks before that fight, and I could have easily said no. I could have easily pulled out of that fight, never had any questions asked. I had the proof. I had, pictures, and I was in the hospital, but I was bound and determined. When I say I'm going to do something, when I sign that dotted line, I show up, man, and that's where I'm at, where I'm at in my career as well, because I've never said no to any fights. I've never taken the easy road. I have never ducked a fighter. I have never ducked a promotion. I have never ducked a fight. I've always said yes, and to be the best, you got to fight the best. So when they came with Vitor Petrino, I'm going to be honest with you, my coach and management, they didn't love the opportunity. They didn't love the matchup,
Hmm.
but if the UFC pays me well to be in the position I'm at, and it was a fight that they wanted to see for the division. They wanted to see if I was still capable of remaining at the top, and if this kid was ready to take the next step. And like I said, man, I signed the dotted line, so I was hell or high water. I was showing up to that fight night, and I got it done, man. I believed in my power. I believed in my strength. I believed in my experience, and I truly believed my experience was going to get me past that fight, and it did. And here we are with another opportunity against an up and coming guy, 14-1 Brazilian, trying to take my spot in the UFC, and it's my job to keep him where he's at and to keep climbing the ladder.
Yeah, another young Brazilian, 31 years of age, so he'll be younger. Um, but I still want to go back to that difference of weight. That was almost 20 pounds on fight night, huh? What
Yeah, man,
will that
and
change
I'm
your outlook this time with strength and conditioning to look to get a little bit bigger, even if it's 5, 7 pounds, smart pounds, not,
right. Yeah, and what's funny is I'm actually leaner now than I was then. It's a chore for me to compete at 205 and to stay big. I naturally walk around 215, 220 max, and then it takes a lot for me to stay around that 220 pound limit, and I'm just a better fighter at 205. Guys are bigger than me mass wise, but frame wise, I'm just as big as them. I can compete. Uh, I think I'm quicker at 205. I think I have better cardio at 205, and my power is still there. So I give up a lot of mass to these guys: Alonzo Minifield, Kennedy Nzechukwu, Vitor Petrino, Max Grishin. I mean, pretty much any 205 or Ian Kulaba, any 205er I fight, they're much bigger than me mass wise. But cardio wise, I'm better. I feel like I'm faster. I'm lighter on my feet. I'm quicker. And I just fight better at 205, man. So if it's not broken, don't fix it. Of course, I'd like to keep a little more size on, but my body, it's tough, man. Like I said, I'm even leaner right now. I'm probably 215 max right now. So, um, but on fight night, that doesn't matter to me. I have good cardio. I'm durable, and the power is always going to be there. So I think I'm just a better fighter at 205. And I'll tell you what, man, I've been training with Julius Walker. He's been coming out to Factory X. That kid's 25 years old. He's 240 pounds. He is a real light heavyweight with a very bright future. So it's been great getting a lot of good rounds in with him. And it just goes to show, man, that how much smaller I am than some of these guys. And, a real light heavyweight, they walk 235, 240 pounds. And that's what this kid, he's a load to deal with at practice, man.
Hey, Dustin, what would you say is like the road back? Because if we look at your division, there are a lot of guys at the top that have fought each other. There's a lot of guys that have succumbed to injuries. So it feels like right time, right place. You might be able to pop in somewhere and get a really big win and be right back in the mix. What do you think is your road back?
That's the name of the fight game, man. Timing is everything. Right place, right time. And you're right. The division is there's a lot of guys at the top that have fought each other, and I think it's just going to take another couple big wins, another big knockout in this fight coming up. I think will put me right back there. Everybody thought Reyes was done, and now look at Reyes, man. Started his streak with me, and he's been on an incredible 3-fight win streak. One more, and he's up at the title. So. Yeah, the division's wide open, man. Pereira's dropped the ball here, and we have a new champion in Ankalaev, and I think those top five guys are going to kind of do a little ring around the rosy type deal. But I think another big knockout, and maybe another big win after that, maybe a rematch with Khalil Roundtree. There's a guy that a very questionable fight. I think at the end of the day, I was minus 650 going to the scorecards after the fight was already fought on that fight. So, I think that the options are there, but first and foremost, I have Bruno Lopez in front of me, trying to take my spot, and I got to take care of him. And as long as I do what I'm supposed to do in that matchup, the sky's the limit, man. There's a lot of fun matchups in the top 10. And again, the Khalil Roundtree rematch, even Alex Perez at the top of the division. I fought him in Glory Kickboxing. I think that would be a fun fight for the fans. So, you just got to keep working one foot in front of the other. And the biggest thing is to win on fight night, which is May 31st. If I can take care of that win, everything else takes care of itself, and we'll let the cards fall where they may.
I was actually going to ask you about that. Do you enjoy when there's one guy that's dominant at the top, or do you like when there's a little bit of a changing of the guard when it comes to the championship?
At the end of the day, man, I can't control any of that. Alex Pereira definitely had his time, and I think he still does. He's still freaking one of the best fighters in the world, one of the best strikers in the world, and it's cool to see a mix up, though. It's cool to see another guy, Ankalaev, come in and claim his shot at the title, and I guess it does get a little boring with one guy winning every time and controlling the division. But it is also good to have some options, to have some guys that are can go in there compete for the title. And now with Ankalaev, the champ, I think there is some guys can go in there and take it to him. But he's a very good champion too. That guy is very well rounded. We might see him reign that title for the next 2 or 3 years. He's very well rounded and a tough competitor with good size. So it's always fun though when there's some new challenges up there.
Dustin, if you could snap your fingers right now and steal somebody else's particular skill set, whether it be their jujitsu, their wrestling, whatever, who would that person be and what would the style be?
Gosh, man, it would definitely be. Does it have to be in my division? Do I have
No,
to pick
could be
some?
anyone.
It could be anyone, man. I think it would be Charles Oliveira. His skill set on the ground. If you could just be really threatening with some jujitsu, the guys at light heavyweight, they don't like wrestling around too much, taking it to the ground. This guy I'm fighting does, Bruno Lopes. He's going to try taking it to the mat, but to be completely honest with you, I don't think he has the fire, the star power, the recipe to get it done. But Charles Oliveira, man, I love his skill set. That guy will throw down. If it hits the mat, you're in trouble. You got to watch out. He's so slick with the back takes and has several finishes down there. So I'd have to take Charles Oliveira.
Dustin, let me ask you something. Your fights are always exciting, and you, without the UFC actually making this official, they, I think, prefer fighters who like to stand and throw down that way versus the ground. It is mixed martial arts. If someone has the ability to do it, fine. But again, you compete mostly on your feet. You kick, you knee, you elbow, you punch, all that. You come off a beautiful KO at the end of the year, and they stick you on the Apex card. Does that kind of stick in your craw a little bit? Because
It
you should fight in front of like 15,000, not, I don't want to say 15, that's stupid, but not 150 or 80 or however many fit in there.
It does, man. And to be honest with you, it does sting a little bit. I was on a good run with when I fought Enzo Jekku, a big crowd in Nashville. That was awesome. That was a performance bonus, and to hear the crowd go nuts. Of course,
Exactly.
in Tampa, man, that knockout was just electrifying, man. One of the best knockouts, just a pure home run punch and a home run feel, and the crowd went absolutely nuts. The crowd lives for those moments, man, and us as
Hmm.
fighters, we live for those moments. So. You're right. It does sting a little bit when I was, I thought for sure I'd be going to another packed arena, but unfortunately, that's not what the UFC had in mind. And here we are at the Apex, limited crowd. It is tough to get pumped up for those fights, but at the same time, man, it is a fight that you have to be dialed in for, and you have to be laser like focus, and regardless of the apex or a big crowd, I got to go in there, be focused, do my job. The knockouts still feels great when you do it, man. It's just a lot, it's just more exhilarating when you see the crowd just erupt and you can hear it and it's deafening.
Yes.
That experience in Tampa, man, was but definitely a highlight moment of my career and something I'll never forget. It's what we all live for. I've had random people, I've had best friends ask me like, dude, what did that feel like? And just pure ecstasy, man. That's all I can say. It was electric, and we feed off the crowd. So unfortunately, we're at the apex, but I got to do my job still.
When they came to you, did they just say, you got Bruno Lopez, you want it or not? Or do they give you all the details, as they're approaching you before they send over the paperwork that you sign and you email back or whatever? Like, do you know all those details? Here's why I ask. Could you ever just, like, whoever your manager is, they tell you what it is, and you're like, is it at the Apex? Yeah, yeah. I got a wedding. Like,
Yeah.
could you do it a month later, something like that? Because like I say, I think you paid your dues.
Yeah, I agree, man. Yeah, so when I first came with this matchup, they didn't know where it was. They thought it was going to be in Vegas. They didn't know if it was going to be at the Apex. And of course, like I said, man, I'm at where I'm at in my career because I've never said no. So when they came with Bruno Lopez, we looked him up. We saw 14-1. We saw an up and coming guy. I didn't love the matchup. I didn't love his style. I didn't love. where he was at in the division. But at the end of the day, man, the UFC, that's another matchup they wanted to see, and like I said, I've never said no. I've never given a reason, an excuse to find a way out. So I accepted it. I found out it was at the Apex. I was pretty bummed, and again, I got to control what I can control, and we got to get the job done and move on, and hopefully fight with the crowd next time.
Then the following week they're in Newark.
No, man, we missed that one.
Could you tell your manager who's the matchmaker, Mick or Sean?
Mick's my matchmaker.
Could you directly or your manager go, "Hey Mick, put us a week later"? Could you at least try it? Or
I'm sure you could try it, yeah, but I think it's already been signed. It's already been done, man. And again, when they come, I don't argue. I don't want to.
I'm fighting on your
I
behalf, by the way. I'm not trying to be a pain in the ass. I'm
oh,
fighting
for
on your
sure.
behalf.
Hey, that's my thing, man. I try not to be a pain in the ass either. I feel like they like me because I'm pretty easygoing, and I'm not extra. I don't require a lot of extra. I'm not drama. You give me a contract, I sign on the dotted line. I'm gonna show up in shape. I'm gonna show up in great fight shape. I'm gonna show up well prepared, and I'm gonna show up going out there to win. At all costs. So those are the things I can control. That's what I'm gonna continue to do is control what I can control, and hopefully go get another big knockout, and we'll be in a packed house again soon.
I hope so. That Tampa card. Actually, I want to. Everyone on that Tampa card came out, man, that day. That was a
I tell you
really
what, man,
fucking violent night.
yeah, that was. What was really cool is Michael Johnson was in my corner, and I walked up to him. It's always cool to go into the locker room and get the feel with all the guys. Cub Swanson was in the locker room. He had a big knockout. Michael Johnson was in the locker room. He had a big knockout. And I went up and shared a moment with each of those guys because we fought on cards long ago. I think Cub Swanson was on my UFC debut card, UFC 137. Michael Johnson, my second fight in the UFC, he was on that card. It was UFC on Fox 2, the second ever one on Fox. It was in Chicago at the United Center. And I was like, yeah, man, we both fought that night. That was the last time I was on the card with you. That was an epic night. And, we shared that little moment. And then he goes out and has that big knockout. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. And then I go out and have that big knockout. I'm like, holy hell, this is great. And then Cub Swanson goes out there and has that big knockout, man. It was just an epic night. It was an epic card. It was Christmas time. I thought all those guys should have got bonuses. Of course, I was super happy. I was picked for the bonus, but I thought, and I think Michael Johnson got it as well, but Cub Swanson did not, and I thought he was definitely deserving. So that was unfortunate, but at the same time, I was happy.
That was Nick and BJ 137 at the Mandalay Bay.
You're right, man. Yeah, I think that was when I would have been my first time on your guys' show.
Yep,
Yep,
exactly.
it was supposed to be Diaz
2011, almost
and
15 years ago.
GSP.
Yeah.
And then it was
I
Diaz,
remember I
BJ
thought
Fair.
Crow Cop was going to send Roy Nelson to the moon. I was kind of a pride nut hugger a little bit, and Crow Cop obviously was one of their studs, and the roles were reversed that night.
Yeah, man. Roy Nelson kind of had a great little career there for
Big
a little bit.
country.
He went in there and was getting wins left and right against people that they didn't think he stood a chance, but he did, man. No,
A lot of these guys are retired now.
I was gonna say
Cerrone.
Big Country. Is he? Did I see he was with GFL now, or did I make that up?
No, I thought I saw his name pop up as well.
Yeah.
I thought so.
But
That's crazy. Are they gonna have a show? Is this gonna get done, or is this?
they were supposed
On
to do
hold.
back-to-back nights in LA, and it was canceled. Well, they're saying postponed. But a lot of people are thinking this might have been it because, for one, their reputation took a hit. Like some fighters are asking
For
to be released
sure.
or whatever, and the excuse that was given by the commissioner, his name's Darren Owen. We know him through WSOF Canada. He said the funding it wasn't there, and they're trying to secure it. And so, in this sport, there ain't no trying. You have to have it and be ready to go. And after something like this, I don't know. I don't know if the confidence is going to be there for a lot of people to want to, sign with them.
Oh, I agree. Especially some of the numbers I was hearing that these guys were getting paid and are supposed to be getting paid. I thought that was pretty crazy, and we'll see, man.
We'll see. When the cards popped up, I told girls, I go, shit, we might want to go out there. LA's, we're from Southern California. This guy put together 2 good cards back-to-back nights, so we were fired up. But
Yeah.
then it all just, blew up.
Yeah, well, hopefully for the fighters' sake that they can collect and get a couple more fights and a couple more good paydays, man. I definitely feel them. Being at the position I'm in and being a fighter all these years, to get towards the end of your career, man, you're like, damn, you like one of those Jake Paul fights, you like one of those big money fights, a little ride off. Not everybody rides off well, man. So it's a tough way to make an easy living. It's a brutal sport.
For sure. All right. Well, thanks for the time as always. I hope you have a great camp leading into Bruno Lopes at the Apex. You're fighting in late May, and hopefully Mick Maynard listens to this and goes, you know what? The junkie guys are right. I'm moving them back a week, and they send you to Newark or maybe even International Fight Week. I don't know, but enough
When
of
is
that.
International Fight Week this year? Is it June 28th?
June 28th, 1 month after you're slated to fight.
Okay. Yeah, I think I
There's
just saw
there's
that.
2 pay-per-views in June, early June and late June.
Gotcha. Early June. Is that the New York card? Newark?
Correct.
Gotcha.
Marab
Cool.
and Sean O'Malley are headlining
yeah,
there.
that's
But
going to be a good
the
one.
one after in late June, they haven't filled that one yet.
Okay. And Sean O'Malley's good, isn't he? Wasn't there some rumors he was on crutches or?
Yeah,
Yeah, he had a hip injury apparently, and I guess he had the surgery, and now he says he's back.
Okay.
But yeah, he gets a rematch. And I'm not trying to sound like a hater, but he got smashed by Marab. He lost, I think, every round, so I was surprised he got an instant rematch.
I agree. Well, he's got the star power, man. He's got the push behind him. So hopefully he can go out there and put on a good performance.
You need to grow out your hair and paint it a bunch of different colors and get a pink car.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's not my style, but heck.
All right. Take care, Jeff. What's that?
I appreciate you guys, man.
All right. You too, man.
You have a great day.
All right. You too.
Appreciate you. See you.